And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Simplex Industries' presentation on modular homes here this evening. Our presenters will be Dave Bonello and Dave Mertz, and we'll let them introduce themselves in just a moment. My name is Scott Stroud, and I'll be moderating your questions tonight. So I hope you came with a lot of questions. We want to get them answered for you. The way we'll do that is because we have so many on the line with us. Everyone is muted, so we won't. You won't be able to speak to us in that way. But on the right side of your screen, there is a control panel, and one of the tabs on that control panel says Questions. And what we'll ask you to do is to open that question tab and then type in the questions that you have. And at the end of the program tonight, we will have a question and answer session where we'll answer as many of those questions as we can. But throughout the presentation, I'll be watching the questions also. And if appropriate, I'll interrupt our presenters and ask your questions in your behalf. So that said, let me turn it over to Dave and Dave.
Well, thanks a lot, Scott. This is Dave Mertz. I'm the Vice President of Sales here at Simplex Industries. And my co-presenter tonight is Dave Bonello, Vice President of Marketing Development. We're really excited to be here. This is our third webinar that we've done, and we found it to be really great turnout, very informative, lots of questions, and we're looking forward to a lot more questions at the end of this one. We're ready to field what anybody has ready to throw at us. But I'd like to start out and just give you a little history about Simplex and who we are and what we're about. Simplex was founded in 1971 and remains a family-owned and operated company. We're very proud of that. We have numerous national building awards. We are a leader in the industry for quality and innovation. We have many innovations that are out in field and recognized within the industry. We are constantly looking in ways to reinvent ourselves and reinvest in ourselves to maintain an edge in the market, especially in a building atmosphere that we are not enjoying a whole lot right now, but we're looking at things getting much better. We have a great in-house engineering and design team, 2 modern production facilities, and almost 300 years combined of management experience here at Simplex. So one of the things that we were recognized for is we were featured on Bob Vila's Home Again a few years ago. And this was a fantastic experience for everybody here at Simplex. And what it did is it really opened our eyes and took us to the next level in what it takes to be a custom home builder. Give you an overview of where Simplex is and the markets that we service. You can see the map here on the screen. We service from Maine to Georgia. We're located in northeastern Pennsylvania there in Scranton, PA. And we also have a satellite facility in Mooresville, North Carolina, called Classic Carolina Homes. Here's an aerial shot of our 2 plants, Plant 1 and Plant 2. So we have plenty of production capability and can build high volume of homes for any customer out there. We also have plenty of storage facility here to stage the units before they're shipped to their end user.
Now, I'd like to take a minute and talk about a clear misconception sometimes of what modular product is considered. And as you look at this picture on the screen now, you're looking at what is called a manufactured home, mobile home, a double wide. Those are all terms that are used. And often this product is misconstrued as a modular home. Let me clear up. This is truly not modular product. It is mobile product or manufactured product, and it is not considered real property. And what we mean by real property is that when the home is put onto your site, onto your foundation, it becomes a permanent member of the foundation, becomes real property, and it then starts to gain value, where the mobile home or the manufactured home is considered personal property. And the negative of that, it's a lot like an automobile. The day you drive it off the showroom floor, it starts to depreciate. So it does not gain value, it depreciates in value. And as we move along here, we'd like to then show you what modular products really truly are considered. And on the next slide, you'll see a starter ranch on my right-hand side with a nice reverse gable roof line. And then on the left-hand side, you see something with a little bit more curb appeal, a ranch home with some craftsman-style trim details and gables that give it a little bit more attractiveness. And this next slide is a cape-style home. It's a T-cape, or T-shaped cape, and it does have a farmer's porch on it with a large roof line. Then the products start to get a little bit more sophisticated. On my left-hand side, you can see that this product is made up, this two-story home is made up of 6 modular components and a garage that's on the back end of it on the left side. And then an attached porch is put on site. On the right side, this is a larger ranch home that has a combination of panelization and modular products. So the roof system is actually panelized to give you this large sweeping roof line, intersecting gables, and hip roof on top of the modular box components where the home is built.
Dave, you've got people's attention already. There's a couple of questions coming in, and it seems to have to do with ceilings. We have one question is, do you have models that can have cathedral ceilings?
We do. Modular products don't get built with typical angled ceilings very often these days. What we're getting into more now is people want to do 9-foot ceilings, and 9-foot ceilings can be done in most market areas. There are some limited areas where restrictions of travel will minimize the amount of height we can do with a roof truss on it. But we do cathedrals, we do vaulted ceilings, we do 9-foot ceilings. We've even done things with 10-foot ceilings where we combine it with removing part of the ceiling on a 2-story product. So we do have the ability to do different things with ceilings.
That was the other question, is whether you could do a 10-foot ceiling. So thanks for answering those.
Now the next slide that we look at is a part of our product line that has really gained popularity in the last couple of years, and it's the modern contemporary style product. And on the left-hand side, that's a T-shaped home again that is comprised of 6 modules, and has a lot of glass, as you can see, lit up in the dark night sky there. And on my right side is something a little bit more simpler. It's 2 boxes stacked, again with some nice architectural details done to the exterior and an interesting window layout. Next slide, left-hand side, is a larger 2-story home with some dormers and garage additions onto it, and intersecting gables again. And on the right side is some townhouse product that we did that has, again, 1st and 2nd floor ceilings, intersecting gables, cape dormers. There's a combination of everything. That's a 5-unit cluster that we show in that slide on the right.
Let's just take a minute and talk about some of the advantages that you can gain through Simplex and our modular construction process. You know, the foremost one that that can grab your attention is we build in the climate-controlled atmosphere. All of our construction takes place inside of a factory. In fact, even when the material arrives, it's covered and it's immediately put into either a storage facility or a covered lean-to, so it's never exposed to the elements. But from the time that your floors are framed, your walls are framed, the home is contained inside a building. That really cuts down on the opportunity for any kind of mold or pest problems and any other things that can really plague a site builder. Another really fantastic advantage, and I love to point this out when we have potential customers or existing customers here at the plant. We have our own in-house stair shop, which is really in a lot of the building industry is unheard of. But we have a custom stair shop, and we build stairs really the old-fashioned way. You can see a picture of here of Doc building a set of stairs, and he routes out the stringers. We use glue blocks and wedges to put the stairs together, and it's really the way a custom set of stairs should be built. You know, another thing that we're doing a lot of, and some people might see that this is a contradiction of the economic times that we're in right now. But what we found is that although people have had to downscale a little bit in the home, they still don't want to downscale in their amenities. And our tile installation work here has really grown. It's gone from custom floor tile installation to backsplash installation to wall tile and shower enclosure. So it's really a great feature to have in tout.
Now, as we're moving forward, we're going to go into the interior of the home a little bit and show you some pictures of some of our capabilities. But I think ultimately the message we're trying to convey is that customization is certainly something that is not new to us, and building a plan that's not our standard plan is something that's very typical in our business environment. We work with standard plans that we have. We work with plans that our customers give us. We work with plans that are a combination of our plans and their ideas. So you're really not limited by taking the modular route as to how you can design your home to your needs. As far as the styles of homes, we're building first-time homes, vacation homes, and then as you saw in the previous pictures, large mansion-style homes and also multifamily products. And again, just to start out, simple basic ranch designs are products that we do. And here on this look, you can get an idea of how simple they can get. And then the next slide, as it loads up here, you can see that we get into some more sophisticated architectural designs. We can add a lot of the exterior treatments that a homeowner would like to put on to accent their product and give it some architectural curb appeal. And this picture shows a more detailed presentation than the previous slide. And then we'll take you on into the interiors and start to show you some of the different things. This is a kitchen layout, and it actually has a combination of a medium and light colored cabinet along with some maple hardwood floors, glass doors, stainless steel appliances, things that you would expect in a higher end home. The next slide is a stairwell, a craftsman style stairwell that we have here on display at our factory in one of our model homes in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And we'll talk about the models a little bit later and how you can see them. But again, this is showing some of the level of customization that we can get into. And again, from that same home is a look at the master bedroom suite. Someone asked earlier about ceilings. This is a tray ceiling. It's an angled tray ceiling around the perimeter of the outside walls of that bedroom. And then the ceiling is raised up in the center. And there's a little chandelier in the middle there. And then when we talk about modern, and I showed you that photo earlier of the exterior of the modern styled homes, this is an interior look of a kitchen that not only has bamboo on the floor, but we've actually, if you look at the back of the picture, the back end where the cabinets and appliances are, that's bamboo flooring that we actually installed vertically on the walls. And again, on the island snack bar, it's put on the face of it, and then it has a Corian top surround going around it.
Boy, the mouse is really moving slow tonight, Dave.
It is.
Hey, well, one thing I really want to just take a moment to summarize and say is, Simplex can build your dream home. We have the in-house engineering and design team and the capability. We have features like a custom stair shop, a custom door shop, countertop shop, and the capability to install and build custom cabinetry. We have a highly experienced craftsman, not only in the plant, but in the engineering that can put this all together for you. And the material that we use to build your home is all name brand material. And again, this is something we're really proud about. We use things like Anderson windows, Merilec cabinets, General Electric appliances, numerous different items that you can see every day out in the consumer's world. And one reason that we key in on this stuff is that another very important thing in the marketplace today is green. And here's a term that I definitely overuse, but it's true. Modular building is inherently green, because one of the things that makes modular competitive is the use of recycling practices. And what is typical here at Simplex is we recycle all of our electrical wiring cut off, our wood cut off, drywall, cardboard, and even you see in the center of this is a paint tote, which we can send back to the manufacturer and they can refill. So we put less in the landfill, and this again is a common practice, but now because green is so important, we've taken it really to another level, but it wasn't hard for us to get there. You can see here's another very good green building practice. We use a lot of trusses, roof trusses and floor trusses, and the big advantage of that is that you're not using old growth lumber. And Dave was kidding me earlier. I said, you know, because of the magic of engineering, you can use smaller dimensional lumber, but put it together in such a way that it has greater carrying capability than, say, your average old growth lumber 2x10. Another thing that is very important in green building today is insulation methods, because what people are really trying to key in on today is cutting down draft and air infiltration into homes. So on the left-hand side of the screen here, you'll see an electrical box that is on the inside wall of an exterior wall, and we foam around that to prevent air infiltrating into the home. Now on the right-hand side is another feature that we offer. It's an optional feature, but the walls, your entire wall system can be sprayed with spray foam. And again, the enemy is air infiltration. And what spray foaming things does, it virtually eliminates air infiltration.
And Dave, the great thing about the foam system, we have it here right at the factory. We're able to do as little as 1 inch of foam or as much as 5 or 6 inches of foam in your wall cavity, depending on how much you want to spend on that particular item.
A couple of questions that are coming in here, if I can interrupt for just a moment. You showed that photograph of the module there in the air. The question that Tom has is, how well does if you go ahead and install tile there, how well does grout transport without cracking?
Well, that's an interesting question, and actually we were going to talk about that a little bit, and we'll talk about that now. The tile companies have developed a special method for installing tile in modular homes, and it's called a MAP-LAT system. And the adhesive that we use in the floor, and we combine it with a mesh polymer mat that gets attached to the floor, and you adhere the tile to that with the adhesive. And then when you grout, you use a grout that has an elastomeric texture to it so it can flex. We've been using that for 3 or 4 years, and we ship houses, as I said, all the way down to Georgia and experience no cracking in our floors. And also, when you look at this shot and you see the house up in the air, these modular boxes are built to stand independently. So if you have 2, 4, 6, 10 box houses, each one of those is an independent structure that's tied together after the set, but they have a lot more strength individually than your average stick-built home.
Good. Another question was, what type of spray foam do you use in your full wall cavities?
FOMO is the brand name that we use, and it's a closed cell foam insulation.
Good, thank you.
Moving right along then, we get into Energy Star, and a key aspect, again, of green building is Energy Star, and really it's a great system that I think will become more inherently built in homes all the time. But as it's becoming a stronger player in the marketplace, we here at Simplex have really embraced the Energy Star system. We have people on our staff that that are certified to do the inspection process. And the key thing about Energy Star to understand is we can't build a home and completely make it Energy Star. It's a process that's done between us and the builder when the product's brought on site. So that there's a site aspect of it, and there is also the aspect of it in the factory. But it's something that we have a great familiarity with. And part of the familiarity is to use products that have Energy Star rating. And throughout the products, bath fan lights, light fixtures, patio doors, windows, 90% plus high efficiency furnaces. A great item these days, tankless hot water heaters have really grown in demand. Low flow faucets are becoming essentially used in almost every home anymore. And I think as we grow forward, low flush 1.28 toilets will become a standard. We're still a little bit off of that right now. And then what we've done at Simplex is we've taken the combination of green building and Energy Star building, and we put up a new model home here, the Greenfield, which recently earned a 5-star plus rating. And what we did was we took a combination of all these items and built it into the home, put it on display for you to be able to walk through, see, feel, and touch.
Now, one of the things, after you see all this stuff that you know, wow, I like this, I like that, I really want to build a new home, and but you know, how do I do that? How do I get financing? And that's probably the most intimidating aspect of building a new home, and again, especially if you watch too much news. So we wanted to take a couple minutes and point out, you know, a few tips that might help you get started in the financing process. And one of the first ones is, we call it getting a credit checkup, and it's going out and getting a copy of your credit score. And it's important to understand your credit score. It generally costs about $40. You see this website on here called myfico.com. You can go out and log into it. You have to pay a little bit of money, but it'll tell you where you stand as far as your credit scoring, which all financial lending institutions look at right now. And the second thing about understanding your credit score is, you know, what is a good credit score? What's a bad credit score? In today's atmosphere, a good credit score or an excellent credit score starts around 720. If you fall below that, you might want to take some steps to get your score up, eliminate some debt, eliminate some credit cards, but it'll give you a good guideline. Additionally, a real common sense thing for people is paying your bills and staying current on your bills and your credit cards and your cell phone payments, especially during the mortgage application. People look at that and they really key in on that. Another additional thing that's really good to know is, you know, how much of a house can I afford to build? How much of a mortgage can I afford? You don't want to get so deep into your house and have it you be so far over your budget that you have to start to cut things out. So the rule of thumb is generally lenders look at 2.5 times your annual salary as a mortgage. Some additional things that you can keep your eye on is, you know, during the mortgage process, you can use your credit as you normally would. Just don't overdo it. Don't go out and take on another car payment or any other credit cards. Keep detailed records of your deposits and your payments. Keep, you know, copies of your pay stubs, copies of your bank statements, 3 years worth of mortgage or income tax returns, and create yourself a little portfolio. So when you go in and sit down with your mortgage lender, you have this information you can turn over to them. It's very, very helpful in speeding up the process. But probably, you know, the thing that you can do is it's the easiest and most efficient in telling you where you stand is go out and get pre-qualified from a lender, whether it's a mortgage broker or your bank. It's a very simple process. They take basic information, and they can very quickly tell you where you stand and the potential that you have to borrow money and how much you can borrow.
And moving through the process, and again, as we're talking financing, we'll talk a little bit of modular math here. The modular process will speed the process up, and in turn will eliminate, or not eliminate, I should say, it will reduce the amount of interest expense, thus lowering the cost of your home and giving you the opportunity to get into your home faster. A study recently conducted showed that site-built homes construction time averaged anywhere from 10.9 to 13.3 months, and similar homes of modular construction average more between 3 and 4 months. So again, you can see how this process will speed you up, get you into your home quicker, and save you some money. Let me talk a little bit about how that process works. The first slide, we talk about the foundation system going in, and ultimately, whether it's site-built or whether it's modular construction, we're at the same starting point. We're both going to start putting our foundation in as one of the first things we do before we build the house. The only difference is, though, is when you take the modular route, we can start building your home while you're building the foundation. So the opportunity to speed the process up, certainly you can see here while the floor is being framed and in the background boxes are starting to have walls set down on top of them. And I'm sorry I jumped ahead, but the walls were being framed here and then placed onto the floor system. And again, as the process moves along, we're hanging drywall, we're finishing the drywall, and then starting to install electrical wiring and outlets in it, and then cabinetry is hung, countertops are installed. The process really starts to move along, all while at the same time out on the site, the floors are being poured, the concrete floors are being finished and poured, and the site is being readied for the home to be built. And in our case, in the modular world, the home will be delivered and generally set on the foundation within a day of delivery. Sometimes it happens the same day as delivery, depending on how close the site is to the manufacturing facility, but generally the home is delivered and set the next day. So the big advantage here is if I took that same home and looked at it from the site-built world, they may have the floor system actually started to be framing today while we're setting a home with finished walls, roofs, windows, doors installed. And what does this mean for you? Well, simply as we stated earlier in the modular map, the projects are completed faster, ultimately saving you money, but most importantly, getting the homeowner to be able to move into their homes faster.
You know, in closing, you know, the message we're trying to deliver is no other process can match modular efficiencies or savings in the same way. Nobody can really enjoy this duplication of work the way that we can. Now, if you could go back one slide, Dave, you got ahead of me there a little bit. I want to leave this slide up for a second. As a special thanks for you folks that have participated in the webinar tonight, you might want to write this website down because if you do buy a home from one of our builders this year, you could use the coupon to redeem it for some free things that you could put in your home that I'm sure that you could use. So take a moment and write that. It's easy to remember. It's just our Simplex website /webinar 0910-AST.
A dash is a dot, Dave.
.AST, excuse me. Additionally, each month we hold open houses here at Simplex. They're usually the first Saturday of every month, but you can go to our website and check for the actual open house dates and times. Feel free to come here. You can tour our model homes. You can tour our facilities, speak with a Simplex sales representative. If you don't have a builder, we can help you find a builder. And you can show us our plan, and we can give you show us your plan, and we can give you some ideas on what you can do. So it'd be well worth your time and effort. At this time, you know, Dave and I would both like to say thank you very much for attending, and we'd really like to open up for any additional questions.
And Dave, we have a lot of questions that have coming in, particularly there in the last couple of minutes. I'm just going to take them in the order that they came in. First, any national partnerships with lenders for either mortgage or commercial projects?
Scott, yes, we do have an agreement with American Home Bank. That is one of our lending partners that we work with exclusively.
Oh, excellent. Okay, Tom asked that question, and he also makes, as this does, says many states have special grants and programs for houses that meet Energy Star levels, including Pennsylvania. Any experience preparing paperwork for these?
Well, yes. It's not something that we do on our end. It's done with the rater generally. The rater will, or the Energy Star provider, he will actually go in, help you in the early stages of the process by helping you fill out the paperwork, understanding how the home has to be positioned. Sometimes positioning the home will give it a better performance rating. So yes, there is the Energy Star providers will certainly help in the assistance of that. Our people here really work with them during the process.
And you know, and there is some paperwork that's involved in our end for some of these different programs that we do have experience in filling out.
Good. Thank you. Kay asked this question. She says there was an issue in the 70s with super-insulated homes that proved problematic because they did not breathe. How does your insulation process allow for the house to breathe while still being draft-free?
Well, that's a great question, and this might sound like a little bit of an oxymoron, but when you do, for instance, an Energy Star home, and you have high insulation values in there, one of the things that's required in an Energy Star home is to have a continuous running bath fan in at least one of the baths. And what that does is it pulls air through the house and outside of the home so the house can breathe and you don't get condensation problems. Now, as I said before, one of the biggest problems that you want to stay away from is air infiltration. This really doesn't have to do with air infiltration. It has to do with pulling air that is inside the home and exhausting it out of the home.
So that's stale air and just kind of replacing it with the proper healthful level of air.
Correct.
Exactly,
Okay.
getting a turn in the air.
Good, good. Here, George asked this: what's the cost difference between foam and regular insulation?
I probably would throw. I would probably tell you that it'll add somewhere between 20 and 25% over the cost of normal
Insulation, yeah, and it depends on what kind of foam insulation you want to do. I think David mentioned earlier, there's varying levels of this foam insulation that you can do that go from, you know, a moderate price increase over standard fiberglass insulation to a pretty extensive price bump. But it depends, you know, what you can afford and what you're trying to achieve.
But insulation as a component is not that expensive as it's itself, is it? I mean, that's not going to be a huge difference in price.
Now, I don't think this is going to be anything that's going to break anybody's budget, and it may result in the change of you know, a $10 bill and a monthly mortgage payment.
Yeah, and I think the payback would be there fairly quickly, wouldn't it? For the upgrade.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, you begin to cut down your energy costs from the day that you turn your heat on in your home.
Good, good. Here, William wants to build in, I'll pronounce this right, Bahaba, Maine, and wants to know if there's somebody, if he can contact you and you can arrange for that to happen there.
Sure, you can just
either one of our emails.
Yep, either one of our emails, and we can hook you up with our sales rep, and he'll put you in touch with the builder.
Good, good. Does Simplex
nice
sell?
job on the pronunciation.
Thank you. Not bad for a Kentucky boy, huh? Charles asks if Simplex would sell direct to potential buyers and whether there's a turnkey package that you offer. What's your relationship with builders, I guess, is the question.
Well, and that's exactly what it is. We do have relationships throughout the states that we build in with builders, and generally we find that it's very helpful in the process to be working with an experienced builder that understands the building process. We like to get in touch with homeowners, and then what we like to do is put them in touch with our builders and really try to create a working relationship between those parties. We do have some sister companies that we do turnkey business with, but it's not throughout our entire market areas. It's throughout some of our market areas.
Okay. So, and is this something that a homeowner would take on themselves to set the homes and to mend them together, and or would you recommend that a builder be involved?
I definitely recommend that a builder be involved.
And let me take it one step further. I would absolutely recommend a builder being involved. But what you will find, the banking institutions today they really do frown on homeowners being their own builder, unless of course they really are a builder. But generally, they're concerned that the process is going to be done right, that the product's going to be completed on time, and it's going to really hold its value as it's intended to when it's appraised.
Okay, and I'm kind of paraphrasing a question from Griffin who asked that, but it may be also that he is a builder looking for that, and in that case, his question would be: does Simplex provide on-site assembly services for their builders?
Yes, we do. I mean, we can work in a lot of different fashions, and some of our builders want to set their own homes. That's the term in the industry for taking it off the carriers and putting on the foundation. And if they don't have the ability to do that, we can offer set services.
Good. Okay. And John asks if Simplex would provide a detailed custom plans that he can put out for bid with local builders for turnkey construction.
Sure. I mean, we don't provide that as literature product, but if somebody was working with us, we do have the ability to modify your plans, draw it the way you're looking for it to be done, and then get it to you so that you could get it out into the marketplace.
Okay, and is there a typical charge for plans up front before the house is purchased?
There generally is, and it's really done through the builder.
Okay.
So it's a fee that we charge to the builder, and he usually charges it as part of his process.
And it can be predicated at times on the complexity of the plan and the amount of engineering that it needs.
Thank you. Okay, and Judy is looking to build in North Carolina and wants to know if you have show homes in that state.
We sure do. As I mentioned earlier, we have a sister company, Classic Carolina Homes in Mooresville, North Carolina. We have a model home on display there. It's a beautiful home. They can go to the website, which is www.classiccarolinahomes.com, or if they can't remember that, shoot Dave or myself an email, and we will put her in touch with the right people.
Great. Tom here, first of all, he wants to thank you for answering his Energy Star questions. But he asked this: do you work exclusively with ducted HVAC systems, or do you any use of a heat recovery ventilators?
Heat recovery ventilators are definitely items that are typically used within the system. It's generally, a lot of times, that's incorporated on the site side of that type of system.
Okay, good. And Cynthia says, well, if you build in North Carolina, will you build in, can you deliver to Knoxville, Tennessee?
No, we are not approved at this time for Knoxville, Tennessee.
One of the things about modular, just to give you an idea about the modular industry, we have to apply to build in every state that we service, and then the state monitors us through a third-party inspection agency. And it's right now it's been a business decision. These are the states that we service, and we have not chosen to get our approvals for Tennessee at this time.
Yeah, again, because there is a process for us to go through to get that approval process for that state.
There you go, Cynthia. You need to start looking for property in Asheville. And one final question that we have here, and probably Mike asked a question that many are wondering, is an average cost for your homes, and he's relating it to square foot. And I know a lot of builders and manufacturers don't like to relate their cost to square foot, but any way to establish a range as to what the cost of your homes are?
Just taking that one, Dave.
Well, it's definitely a moving target, because when we sell the home to the builder, it's sold in component pieces, and the builder has to assemble it, finish it, and it really can depend on the labor in their particular market, the cost of land and services. So
transport it.
yeah, it's a tough question to answer because we don't sell direct to the public, and so we don't quote our prices to the end user because there is a lot more that goes into the home after we sell it to the builder. I guess if I had to say, you could start at $80, $85 a square foot, and you could take it to the moon as far as pricing.
And there's no saying you couldn't get that number to go below that number. But again, a lot of things come into play: location, the type of product that you're looking at building, and the type of finishes that you're looking to put in there.
And I think one of the other components of this is something that you mentioned earlier. I guess these are my comments here to help answer that, but you addressed how much more quickly this home could be built, and the cost savings that are involved in getting the house not only buttoned up but move in ready months ahead of conventional construction, puts it well ahead and very, very competitive with site build.
It's a great point, Scott, because people really downplay the amount of money that's spent on carrying costs on interest. When your project is half or three-quarters of the way through, you have a pretty good amount of money out on the credit line at that point between the cost of the land and the cost of the process. You're carrying a pretty good sized nut, and it's adding up into real dollars. By getting through that building process quicker, the modular way, that's money you can save, or that's money you could spend to do better things or different things to make the product a little bit nicer.
Good. Well, gentlemen, you've answered all the questions that have come in so far, so thank you for that.
Well, thank you. We enjoyed giving our answers, and we enjoyed the opportunity to present tonight to the folks.
And look forward to any questions you care to email to Dave and myself, and we can put you in touch with our builders or our salespeople to help you through your process.
Good.
Thanks for your support tonight, too.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. And I guess we should mention that the program has been recorded, and everyone that has registered for it, Dave, will you send them an email to let them know when and where they can review the video recording of this?
Yeah, it'll be posted on our website, but yes, we certainly will do that.
Excellent. All right. Well, on behalf of Dave Bonello, Dave Mertz, and Simplex Homes, thank you all for being in attendance.